Okay, so today we're going to have a little fun and let Brian Harson teach us a little bit about diagnosing and subsequently dissecting a defense. Um, so we're in the first quarter here, and we bring Ash in the game. We align a split backs look, and UCLA is in a three deep coverage. They're in cover three, and they've got four underneath defenders here. You can also see they're standing up both their defensive ends. So as the ball is snapped here, you're going to see their defensive end that we're reading is going to aggressively attack this play on the power read, and he's able to shut this play down before it really gets started. So you might look at that play and say, well, UCLA scouted us. They saw that Ash mainly runs in this package, and they're just telling the defensive ends, hey, go get him. If they do that, though, there's a consequence, and Harson picks up on it immediately. If they're attacking this hard with their defensive ends, then there's no way that their defensive ends can act as a contain player. And if they're not containing, then who is? Well, presumably that would fall on the outside linebackers. So Harson picks this up right away, and what happens the rest of the game from this package is a direct result of that. So we're rejoining the offense in the second quarter here when Ash comes in for his drive at quarterback. And we're aligned very similarly to that first play. We've got two backs, and then we've got three wide receivers. This time the two wide is to the wide side of the field. So let's kind of look at what Harson does with this play. He's going to motion Monroe outside here. And just kind of notice the defense is kind of in the same alignment it was before. We've got cover three, got your four underneath, and you've got your stand-up defensive ends. By motioning Monroe out, he's not only applying pressure to the outside linebacker with this slot receiver, but he's now applying additional pressure, which is going to pull another linebacker out of the box. So Harson says, okay, you're going to attack with your defensive ends. Well, then I'm going to pressure these players that you've put too much responsibility on. I'm going to create conflicting pressure for them by making them defend the wide side of the field. And then that's going to create opportunities for me on the inside. So we've got a zone read here. And if this blocking goes perfectly across the front, we would seal off these five defenders. You're reading this defensive end, so you're basically getting a 2-on-1 with this defensive end. And then you've got a huge cutback lane here on the inside zone right up the heart of the defense. What happens here is that Trey Hopkins loses his outside positioning on this defensive tackle. Defensive tackle makes a nice play to get back inside. So he takes away the cutback a little bit, but Whitaker's still able to make a good gain on this run because we get such good push from Snow, and the defense is basically undermanned inside. So that run set up the offense for a third and three here, and they come out in four wide. The defense responds initially by aligning with three deep, but then pressing. But then they bail to a fire zone look. And you can see they're bringing an outside blitz here. So remember, we just ran zone read on them to the wide side of the field and read this defensive end. So what they're doing is bringing pressure to that side to make sure if we're trying to read that defensive end again, we're outnumbered. But just to kind of take stock of the threats that we present, we can run that zone read and read this backside defensive end, or we can also run power read, pull this guard, and read this front side defensive end. Or we can do what we do here, which is play action. So just want to look at this play action a little bit closer. We really do a great job selling this. Watch Kelly here, and your tackles are really the key to selling your play action well. So if you're this outside linebacker, that's who you're initially looking to for a run pass read. Is you're looking to the tackle to see if this is a run or a pass. So what you see here is Kelly aggressively engaging the defensive end. So kind of hard to tell if that's going to be a run or a pass play. Then you also see a pulling lineman coming toward you. And if you've scouted, then you know that the threat here is the power read. You're in a third down situation as this linebacker, and you can't give up anything. So you've got to play this play aggressively because you've got two potential running threats coming your way. You got the sweep, and you got the power run from the quarterback. So this outside linebacker, who's supposed to have coverage responsibility on this play, he's the hot 2 defender on the fire zone. This defensive end right here is the hot 3, but he never dropped into his middle zone because he thinks it's a run. So this linebacker is coming up to play the power read, and that leaves Jackson Shipley wide open for Ash to hit for the first down. So Harson's showing again that he understands how to constrain his plays, and in this particular instance, how to further torture the outside linebackers. So we come back and are in a pistol look now with the tight end. We've still got 3 receiving threats here. Notice how, so UCLA is still in this cover 3 look with these 4 underneath defenders. Notice how wide this outside linebacker is aligned. He's aligned just as wide as this outside linebacker is who's covering the slot receiver. And a big part of that is, again, that UCLA is very aware of the outside running threat with Ash in the game. So they're protecting the outside here. Now, as the ball is snapped, we're running a power play from the pistol. And notice this defensive end here is trying to take away this C gap. He's battling Barrett Matthews here, and he's able to shed that block and take away the C gap. On the backside of this play, UCLA has gotten good penetration from their backside defenders. But Mason Walters has done such a good job on this block here, he creates a stable point, and Malcolm Brown's actually able to cut this play back for a big gain. So even though we had a lot go wrong in this play, because the power demands so much attention from the defensive front, in a spread out alignment like this, it opens up a lot of field. And with Malcolm Brown, you've got a runner who can exploit that field and see it and find the seams really easily. So he's able to make a big gain here. So it's sort of unintentional, but I think Harson sees here on this play, he's like, oh, I've got some good things cooking on the inside. And eventually we see later how he exploits that even to a bigger advantage. This was sort of accidental, but it leads to big things for the offense. So we all know how this story ends on a draw play to Malcolm Brown, but that draw call was really set up on this play, and I think on that last play on the pistol, Harson realized he had something really good on the inside, and this play is ultimately a setup to get back to that inside call. So this is just a simple pass play with a 4 wide alignment. We're getting quarters look from the defense here. And we're just going to take advantage of the cushion that the defense is giving us with a simple stop route. If this ball is just a little bit better thrown, it's an easy first down. But the point is, hey, we're willing to throw the ball with Ash from this formation, and you need to respect when we show pass blocking. So just to set up this next call, that leaves us with a 3rd and 3. Originally, we're going to bring McCoy out on the field, and then we call a timeout and bring Ash back on the field and go with this alignment. So in retrospect, Harson was very confident in this play call. He knew he had something good going. And so he knew he had something good happening on the inside. This trips alignment is designed to take this quarters coverage and apply further pressure to these linebackers by forcing them to come out and cover the space that this trips alignment presents, or the threat that this trips alignment presents. So you can see, even just with alignment, that this leaves a huge gap in the defense here. And then we show a technique we've never shown before, which is a fold technique on this draw play. And that's between Espinosa and Snow here, where Espinosa's, what that means, what a fold block is where you have 2 players that are going to exchange responsibilities. And sometimes this would be called guard around center as well, or GAC. But basically, the center's going to just make sure that he keeps this nose tackle outside of the play. It's kind of like he would do on a power play, similar to down blocking, only it's coming off of initially a play action look. And then Snow's going to pull around him rather than pulling all the way over to the C gap like he normally would on power. He just pulls around the center, and then he's going to lead this play. So at this stage, you can see there's just a huge gap in the defense, and we really only had to deal with this one defender to have a line all the way into the deep secondary. So even though Snow doesn't get this block, Malcolm Brown's got such a wide running room, and we've opened up such a wide space that it doesn't matter. He's able to exploit the running lane anyway. And then the finish to this play is just beautiful. Even without a shoe on, he's still like overpowering the defense. So obviously you could watch that play about 15 times in a row. So we didn't see too much more of this package in the game, but we could have run this package for the whole game, it seems like, and I don't know if UCLA would have been able to deal with the threats that it was presenting. So, just to show that it was still viable, in the second quarter when we needed a third down pickup on this drive, we brought this package back in. We went right back to the power read play action. And again, Shipley's wide open. There's just too much threat to this side of the defense for them to cope with both responsibilities. So just to kind of sum up what we saw from Harsin and from the package of plays here, UCLA came in with sort of a single game plan to deal with the Ash package of plays. They were concerned with the threat of the run from the read, rightly so, after watching the BYU tape. And so what they did is they played their defensive ends aggressively. Harsin looked at that after one play and decided, okay, well, I can attack your outside linebackers, and then subsequently I can play alignment games with you and open up the middle of your defense. So, the moral of the story is here, as a defense, you can't come against Harsin's packages of plays with just a single game plan. You've got to have a layered game plan and have a strategy for defending him multiple different ways, or he's going to pick you apart.